Death is easy. People just want finality. An end to their grief. But with departures, there is no end. I think I'm going crazy.
We wanted each season of the show to feel like it had its own individual sensibility and tone, but at the same time, progression of the seasons that preceded. One of the things that we've done between the seasons is we move the show. So when the geography changes, the feel of the show changes, even though many of the characters remain the same. So I'm a huge fan of the Harry Potter books, and it felt like every one of those books, although it was on a continuum, there was a new mystery to be solved or a new piece of the character's history to be revealed. And so I love that idea of storytelling. So the first season was based on Tom's novel, but we approached the second two seasons as separate novels in and of themselves.
Yeah, and I will say, I mean, we have two main storylines in season 3, and Kevin's storyline is really a continuation of what happened in season 2, whereas Nora's storyline is something entirely new. So it does feel like a new season, but it also does have a direct thread back to the preceding season. I'm as amazed as you are. You know, the show has gotten so much bigger and so much more ambitious than you know, where we started, and it's been really very exciting for me to be part of it because I think it's put me in this dual position of I've obviously been part of the show, but I also feel like it's something that I lost control of in the best possible way, so that I'm in a sense just a viewer, you know, who is as startled as everybody else by the ways in which the show is growing and what it's been capable of doing. So it's been a really exciting experience. I mean, I think it's scary at first when you feel yourself lose control of something that you were, you know, I was behind the wheel, and then suddenly I was, you know, in the passenger seat, and then I was like up on the roof hanging on.
Yeah, I feel tremendously blessed. I think this is an incredible time to be alive and making television. Not just because there's so many different types of shows out there, but because we watch a lot of television, and that's how you learn. I'm 43 years old. I've been a professional television writer for almost 20 years, but I'll watch another television show and be like, oh my God, you can do that? And that inspires me to essentially sort of change my own art. And I get most exhilarated when I'm scared, when I feel like I'm engaging in a certain level of risk, and I feel like I've become a much more collaborative storyteller than I was before. When I was younger, it was really important that everything went the way that I wanted it to, and now that I'm listening to others more and trusting the collaborative process and working with a partner like Tom and an incredibly talented group of writers and directors who are bringing their own energy to it, and then the actors are translating the material, I just feel like now is people will say it's the golden age of television or the platinum age of television or it's peak TV or whatever, but all I know is that getting to tell stories in this environment surrounded by so much other incredible art is inspiring. Well, I think that telling stories about the world ending or the anticipation of the world ending feel like they're especially relevant now, but every single generation feels like the world is going to end on their watch. And we're a little bit disappointed that people are saying that, oh wow, the show feels very relevant right now. I wish it were the opposite, but you know, people believe that the world was going to end 2,000 years ago. They believed the world was going to end 100 years ago. They believed it was going to end 50 years ago. So I hope it doesn't. I just hope it doesn't end until all 8 episodes air, because we put a lot of work into this.
Such a disappointment.
I mean, they're done, but I want people to see them.
You know, I think we're just aware that we have a small, passionate audience, and that's fine with us.
We're small, passionate men.
Yes.
We are. Let's be honest. We're not big.
Yes, that is true.
That's why we write.
But, I mean, for me as a writer, I feel like the same way that Damon does. You know, when I started to move into film from books, it was into the indie film world in the 90s, and it was such a reaction to mainstream movies, which has gotten big and bloated and not surprising, and suddenly there were these young filmmakers who were telling different kinds of stories, and I feel like that indie film world kind of grew into this particular TV community that's happening now. But weirdly, this feels mainstream, and we're reaching all sorts of people who never would have watched indie films. It's like everything that's good about the indie world, with actually, even though it's a small audience for TV, it's a much bigger audience than a lot of indie films have, and it's sort of part of a cultural conversation that feels meaningful. And so for me, that's like the best of both possible worlds. We can make art in a kind of uncompromising way and still feel like culturally central, even if we have a small audience.
I would.